We'll go back to our musical association here. Going a step after Leonard Skinner, perhaps is 38 Special.
38 Special, Little Donnie. Uh, I've never been around them. We've worked together several times. They're a doggone good band. Good band. We've worked together a few times, but I run into Donnie gosh, I guess every couple of years or so, and he's the point. He wears that hat like Ronnie used to wear. It reminds me so much of Ronnie. I just usually have to walk up and hug him real big. He's a good kid. They're a bunch of good kids there, and I just wish them all the best in the world.
The Charlie Daniels Band.
Who? Charlie Daniels Band. I probably know more about that bunch of guys than I do about anybody else you've asked me about. What would you like to know about the Charlie Daniels Band?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the formation of the band. I mean, what is it composed of? What sort of?
All right. Okay. Charlie Daniels Band is made up of 5 musicians with Tommy Crane plays guitar, Charlie Hayward plays bass, Jack Gavin plays drums. Who to leave out? Taz DeGregorio. How could I leave him out? It took me 5 years to learn to pronounce his name. Who has been around the longest time, in fact. In fact, I should tell you how long these guys have been around. Taz has been around for 15 years, or close to 15 years. Tommy Crane, Charlie Hayward, both came in at basically the same time, and soon be 11 years for them. And our newest member is our drummer, Jack Gavin. He's been with us only a short while. We put the band together as a result of my getting a recording contract, and we didn't. These guys have been through so much. I can't tell you what these guys have been through. Not just the band, but the road crew. I got people on my road crew that have been with me for 10 and 12 years. And I mean, they were right in there with all the riding in vans and the broke down buses and the staying away from home 3 months and all that sort of thing. Pardon me. They were right in. I'll repeat that. They were right in there with the long periods away from home, the riding in the vans, the automobiles, the rent a cars, the being pushed around. I got a pet peeve, is that a lot of times headline acts uh, use opening acts like they're not even there. No respect. No, they'll leave them this much room on the front of the stage and make them operate in it when all they got to do is back up a couple of feet. We've had that happen to us. We've nearly come to fisticuffs with people before just to try to get enough room on the front of the stage to perform in. Bill Graham, a few years back, said something to me about that. He said, it goes on and on and on. He said the headline acts mistreat the opening acts, and then when the opening act gets to be a headline act, they mistreat the opening act. And I said, not in this band. It don't happen that way. We treat our opening acts with respect because we know what it's like being not treated with respect. But anyway, our road crew put up with that to a big extent, much more so than the band did. So they deserve a lot of credit. Manager deserves a lot of credit. The management team deserves a lot of credit. When I say the Charlie Daniels Band, I'm not just talking about the 5 guys that play the music. We've got a road crew and an office staff, management team, and those sort of people, and we're a unit, as opposed to being 5 guys that we sit over here aside and everybody else is in the background. We don't look at it that way. We're family. We're very much of a family. We're a very tight-knit bunch of people, a very efficient bunch of people. Very efficient. If you've dealt with our office staff, which you probably have, you'll know how. Every day I made a call yesterday, and the guy said, "How great your people are! Just great. They just so cooperative. They help us out. They were doing some kind of a promotion, and our people got a hold of it and sent them merchandise to give away and on a radio station, that sort of thing. Well, if you dealt with my road crew, you'd find the same thing. It's efficient. We get there. We go. We've done things like I remember one time Interstate 80 was closed down because there was a snowstorm, wind blowing. Truck had 18-wheeler run off the road and killed a guy or a couple of guys, and they closed it down, and we had to be in San Francisco. So we picked us a place that was closed down about Cheyenne, so we hit the side roads in the snowstorm, went out around the section that was closed, and rolled on into San Francisco. And I'm not saying a lot of bands wouldn't have done it. They probably would have. But the point is that our people wanted, our drivers, our road crew, they wanted to get us there. We weren't supposed to be sitting in Cheyenne, Wyoming the next night. We were supposed to be in San Francisco at the Cow Palace. We got stuck one afternoon going into Denver, Colorado. Loveland Pass, snow. We wouldn't have got stuck. We could have walked up it, but the cars in front of us were stopped. We couldn't get up the hill. Trucks, stuck with the equipment, stuck on the side of the mountain, couldn't get up. Getting late in the afternoon, probably 3 or 4 o'clock. We had to perform that night. So we got the buses through. David, a road manager, got on, called the stage manager who had gotten on through ahead of us and said, rent some equipment tonight. We went on stage, on time, did 2 shows that night. That's dedication. I mean, all the guys would have had to know was say, hey, we can't make it. You know, we can't go around, and the drivers would say, well, that's just too dangerous. I can't drive them little 2-lane roads, and we don't know what the weather's like over there. Or, we can't get up Loveland Pass. We can't do it. We just got to sit here, and the instruments are back there, and we can't get instruments. I mean, Denver, Colorado, 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and you get instruments. You get, stuff that we can play on and perform on. That's the kind of dedication I'm talking about. Same thing with the office people. Same thing with the people that work in it. I don't like to call them the office people. I like to call them the team, the management team, the people that take care of me and look after me so good. Every step I take, every phone call I make, everything I do professionally is all guided and handled and coordinated and scheduled, like the thing we're doing here this morning. I've known about this for quite a while. I've been prepared for it. I've been ready for it. I didn't have to do anything except be here when you showed up and sit and talk to you, which is a pleasure, by the way. But everything else was handled by somebody else. And that's when I say the Charlie Daniels Band. It's not just the 5 of us that create and play the music and do the performances. It's the people that surround us, the people that the road crew that goes on the road with us, the management team, and the people in the office that book the dates, that set the interviews, that book the hotel rooms, that book the flights if they need to be booked, that make sure somebody meets us there. I'm going to tell you a little anecdote about, it's not an anecdote, it's a true story. We did a show called Farm Aid in Champaign, Illinois a while back. We were playing at someplace, no, it was close to Three Rivers, Michigan, anyway, a fair up there. My wife had been having some trouble with her back. She'd been going to a chiropractor, thought her back was bad. And when we got up there, she kept getting worse, and I went to the drugstore and got some things for her, and it didn't help. And that night I did 2 shows, and when I got off work, I came in, and I could tell she was sick. And I said, I'm going to take you to the emergency room. And she's a very headstrong lady, and she said, no, let's go home. I said, no, I'm taking you to the emergency room. You can't go on like this. I'm not taking a chance on taking you home. Farm Aid was the next day. We were about 250 miles away. I went took her to the hospital, and they found that she had some problems that was probably going to be operated on. So I just said, well, I'm not doing Farm Aid. And Hazel, my wife, as I said, is a very headstrong lady, and she insisted that I go. And I said, I have to leave you here. I want you to go to it. She literally cried. So I waited the next morning to see how she was, and she was very stable. And I took off, worried to death, and got together with these guys. We're 250 miles away. We probably left about 9 or 9:30 in the morning. We're supposed to be on stage at 2 or something like that. And we're just cutting it close. And we went over there, and we went on stage, and we did our appearances. On stage, we did all the press we were supposed to do backstage in about 3 hours' time. And it was set up that way. It was our people. It wasn't me. It wasn't the band. But our drivers got us there. Our road crew got us on. Our people that were working publicity for us got us through all of our interviews. And when I walked off stage and I started telling my secretary what I wanted to do about Hazel, she said, I've got a plane picking you up here in Champaign, a medevac plane. It's taking you to Three Rivers. I've got an ambulance bringing Hazel to the airport. It's taking you to Nashville. It's got 2 medical people, 2 paramedics, and 2 pilots on it. It's taking you to Nashville. An ambulance will meet you at the private side of the airport, and will take you to Baptist Hospital in Nashville, where the doctors will meet you and take care of her. Well, to make a long story short, she was operated on that Tuesday, following the Sunday that Farm Aid was on. She's fine. She's great. Thank God. But she had all this arranged. She said, and here's a check for the plane. And I hadn't even told her what I wanted done. That's the kind of people we got working with us. I mean, that's the kind of people that. So when I get talking on this, and I could do a whole interview on just this, but that's the thing. It's like it's not just the band; it's the support people that are around us, the people that get the job done. And I run into bands a lot of times, They can't even tell you the name of their road crew. They have no touch with them. They don't. Some of them, the road crew's not even supposed to speak to the band. It's against the rules for them to walk up and say, "Hey, Johnny," or no, I shouldn't even use a name because I don't even know any Johnny that's that way. But hi, whatever your name, Sylvester or whoever. They can't even do that, and it's a mistake. You can't build a family that way, and the family counts when the going gets tough, when it gets slogged down in molasses, and you need somebody to give you a hand. They ain't gonna come through for you. Our people do. So CDB's a lot bigger than 5 musicians.
It's amazing, and dealing with your people, as I've been doing over the past 3 weeks or so, getting ready for this interview and this show. The thing that has struck me the most about them is not their efficiency, which is amazing in itself, but how people can make you feel welcome on the telephone. I mean, it's just the first time you call down there, I mean, you just feel welcome.
Well, we got
amazing.
people that are interested in what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just a job. I don't want anybody with me. If you can't be on fire for me, I don't want you. If you can't give me 110%, with my blessings, please go do something else. If this is not the biggest thing in your professional life, please go do something else. Don't clog up my lines and clog up your life and my life and our life by being around and just being a bump on a log and having a job you go to and work 9 to 5 and go home and talk about how much you hate it. I don't want that. I don't blame anybody that wants to leave. I've had people leave me before. They give me notice and said, Charlie, I'm going to give you notice. I said, fine and dandy. I understand why you're leaving and everything. And I'm going to pay you for 2 months. But I'm going to leave you at home when we go home the next time. Because this is no longer the biggest thing in your life. I don't want you out on the road with me if this is not going to be. You go find you another job, and you got 2 months. I'm paying you. Go find you another job. You got plenty of time to do it in. But I'm not going to take you on the road because I don't want you out here. You're evidently unhappy because you're leaving, and I don't want you out here unhappy. So if you can't give me some fire, can't give me 110%. If you can't work on 3 hours sleep a night or 1 hour, or none if you have to, once in a while, I don't want you. I literally do not want you. And I'm going to treat you right, and I'm going to know your name. I'm going to put my arm around you and hug your neck and pat you on the back and shake your hand and tell you what a good job you do. Because not trying to be political about it, politician-like about it or anything, because I appreciate it. Because I could never accomplish what, thank God, we have amounted, which has not been near as much as a lot of other people have accomplished. I'm not bragging on what we've done. It's the blessings of God that we've done anything at all. But there is no way in this world that just the 5 musicians that we got could have accomplished what we managed to accomplish over the years if we had not had the support team that we've had. And I would say I've had people ask me a lot of times, young musicians, what do you do? What advice do you have? The advice I have for you if you're watching this show is get you some people that want to do the same thing that you do and then treat them like family. And if they don't want to be with you, then send them home. But if they're going to be with you, treat them like family. Know their names. Don't get the big head. Don't think the road crew's a road crew and the band's a band and the people in the office don't know what in the hell they're doing about it because that ain't the way it is. Treat everybody like you want, like the Bible says. It works. Treat everybody like you want to be treated.
I think this has a lot to do with the fact, Charlie, that you are a musician and not a star? Or was being a musician always more important?
I don't like stars. I really don't. The people that I've been around that consider themselves, I've been around some big people in the music industry and in the acting industry and this industry and that industry. And the people that are really have the longevity, that stay there a long time, they don't look at themselves as stars. I mean, they realize their importance, but they don't really look at themselves like they're stars. Stars are way up above everything else. All the rest of us common people are down here on earth looking up at the stars. They're just high-rising stars. The people that really last don't have that attitude about themselves. I despise that. I won't stay 5 minutes around a person that has that attitude. I can't stand it. I want to sock them in the jaw because the same Creator made all of us, and He didn't, though He gave us all different types of talent. And my job is no more important than anybody else's job is. Less important than most people. My job's not as important as a doctor's or a plumber's when the pipe leaks or something like that. Who am I? I may make a better living. I may do a job that has more notoriety to it than what his has. But my job, I'm no big deal. I'm just a guitar picker and a fiddle player. That's all I am. I ain't. The world would turn very finely without Charlie Daniels. The world would keep on spinning and Maybe some people would take their hats off and say, we'll miss you or something like that, but it ain't going to slow this world down at all with me being gone. It's not like if, somebody there's a lot of people got a lot more important jobs than me or anybody else in this music business has got. I feel like we're important for morale and for entertainment. Don't get me wrong, I think music is a very, very, entertainment is a very, very important thing. But it's not the single most important thing in the world. And when you're gone, somebody else comes along. So we're not that important. There's a lot of people who be missed a lot more than what we are. So we should not look at it. Well, star, BS. There's no such thing as a star. There's just people that are stuck up and people that are down to earth. Stars are stuck up. Nice people are down to earth.
I agree 100%. Let's talk a little bit about the music of the Charlie Daniels Band.
Okay.
How would you describe it?
How would I describe Charlie Daniels Band music? Okay, it's country, blues, gospel, jazz, classical, African. We use one of them beats once in a while. Honey, we just play a little bit of everything. We don't put a name. I don't call our music by any name because I don't know what to call it. And I'm being honest when I say that. If I said it was country, which it is, to some extent, it's very, very, a lot of country influences in our music. I wouldn't be describing it all. If I said it was rock, I certainly wouldn't be describing it all. If I said it was that we play some jazz once in a while. We do gospel music. I don't know. I'm not concerned with what it is, except for one. There's one adjective that I would like to hear people use, or more than one adjective I like to hear people use to describe our music. I want them to say it's good, it's exciting, we like it, we were entertained by it. We want to hear it again. That's my main concerns. I don't care. Because I wear this cowboy hat, everybody says you're a country artist. Well, I am. I don't deny that. I'm a country boy. I come from a very rural part of North Carolina. I was raised in very small towns and on farms. And I certainly don't claim to be anything else, but don't want to be anything else. But you see where I live now. I live out in the sticks. I prefer living out here. But we play a lot of other stuff too, and I don't know what to call it. I can't call it one thing. It's just too many. Some writer described it a while back as country twang, city gang, and what was the other? Something anyway along those lines, And I can't put a name on it. CDB music, Charlie Daniels Band music, American music. I'll call it that. It's all American. There are very few French or German influences on our music. A little Spanish, a little Mexican influence, but no Russian influence at all. Very little Scandinavian influence.
What about Japanese?
Japanese, now we have to admit a little bit of that. Sometimes my fiddle sounds like like a Japanese chord or something, but no, it's mostly all American. We do lean a little in kind of a traditional Mexican sort of way. We have songs like Caballo Diablo and El Matador or El Toreador rather, and that sort of thing. But it's basically pretty much American. Of course, you get down to it, Spanish influences are American too. We've had a big Hispanic population in this country for a long time, and they've been influential on our music.
Do you consider yourself a storyteller, Charlie?
A lot of people consider me to be a storyteller. When I think of myself as being a storyteller, as compared to the way somebody else can tell a story, what I consider to be a good storyteller, I consider Louis L'Amour as a great storyteller. I mean, sitting talking to him, I can sit there with my mouth open for 3 hours and listen to him. It's just like some people can tell a joke. I'm not a good joke teller. We were touring with Alabama. Jeff with them, the guitar player, is just a heck of a joke teller. And he's told me a couple of jokes, and I just fall on the floor almost and laugh, and I'd go try to tell them to somebody else. And, it just wasn't funny. That's what I'm talking about when I say storyteller. What I look at as being a good storyteller, I don't consider myself to be a good storyteller, but a lot of people say I'm a storyteller. More so in words, probably, more so in written and sung things, songs and stories than in sitting and relating a story to somebody.
Let's talk a little bit, or let's you talk a little bit about the Volunteer Jam.
Let's back up about 12 years. Volunteer Jam started out as a live recording session that we did 12 years ago for an album called Fire on the Mountain. And the band was not headlining anywhere at the time. We were not very well known, and we figured the best place to do it would be in our hometown. So we got about a 2,200 seat hall called War Memorial Auditorium in Nashville. Got some recording equipment, sold tickets for $4 a piece, called the show Volunteer Jam. Promotion man was working with us at the time said, let's call this Volunteer Jam because it's volunteer state of Tennessee, so that's what we did. And that first year, we invited Toy Caldwell and Jerry Eubanks and Paul Riddle from the Marshall Tucker Band all came up. Dickie Betts from the Allman Brothers Band was in town. So we kept them hid till we got through recording, and we said, look, we'll jam some. So we called them out. And, of course, they were real big bands in Nashville. Everybody loved them. But the thing had a feel about it. You know, a show sometimes a show has a certain feel about it that is just very unique. We were talking about towns like Memphis and New Orleans that had feels about them. Well, these concerts have those kind of feels. They have just they take on a personality. It's just like a whole different thing from all the other concerts you do all year long. This one is unique for some reason. And so we said, hey, this is fun. This is great. Let's do it every year. Let's come home every year. This will be our homecoming concert. Let's come in and play for our home folks and invite all these people to come and not tell anybody who's going to be here. So we've done 11 of them, and we're doing 1 this summer, God willing.
Amazing. You still don't tell people who's going to be
No,
there?
no.
Really?
No. We can't guarantee anybody's going to be there. Nobody gets paid for it.
Yeah.
We don't know who's going to be. I mean, we feel like we know who's going to be there, but it's more fun that way. I mean, don't you like wouldn't you like going and sitting down in a hall and sitting there and Willie Nelson walks out and you had no idea he was there? And then you say, who's coming next? And Ted Nugent walks out and you didn't know he was there. And then Billy Joel walks out. And then, I mean, there's no telling who is going to walk out on stage next. And you sit there and hold your breath. Who they're going to bring out next? How are they going to top this? You know, is Alabama coming out? Is Roy Acuff coming out? Is, Quarter Flash coming on stage? Who's coming out? You know? And I just think people get a bigger charge out of it that way.
What fun.
Oh, it's a ball.
Oh, that would be great. Charlie, what's the single biggest misconception about Southern rock that you'd like to clear up?
The single biggest misconception about Southern rock, I don't know, is there really a lot of misconceptions about it other than that, to me, and this is just philosophical answer, I can't really be dyed in the wool about it, but to me it's not a genre of music. It's not a category of music unto itself. It's a category of people that are involved in playing music that are unique simply because that they're just about all the same type of environment. We're raised basically the same way. I don't see it as being as was the same acid rock, for instance. It came out new wave music, punk rock music, rhythm and blues music. I don't see this as being a genre or a category of music like that. I see it as being much wider, embodying a lot more than just one style of music.
What interesting is happening in Southern music for you right now?
There's a whole new generation of musicians coming up in the South, and I am probably the last person in the world you should ask about it because I really don't know. I haven't really kept up. I'm not the kind of person that listens to the radio a lot or keeps up with what is top 10 and what's fashionable, what's avant-garde, or whatever. My interests are so varied, are so. The band, when I work with the band, we do so much recording, rehearsing, and performing that my musical appetite, I guess, gets sated by just by what we do. And I don't really, when I get home, I want to be in setting up on a horse, or I like to team rope. I like to work cattle. There's so many other things. I like to fish. I like to shoot my guns. There's just so many things that I enjoy doing that I don't really sit around and listen to the radio that much or keep up. I used to read all the trade papers, and Oh, and I don't do it anymore just strictly because it's not that I'm not interested. It's just that, if I really try to keep up, I'm taking time away from my private life, and I don't have a lot of private life, really. So I really don't know, but I know there is a whole generation of new faces, and I'm sure a lot of them are really good, and I just hope them all the best. I hope they enjoy it as much as I have, or do.
Do you think that it's harder for kids today to break into the music? It seems like when in the past, it seems like you guys had a lot more chance to make a mistake and to learn your craft than kids do today.
I think that it has always been hard to get to achieve anything, not just in the music business. I mean, if you're gonna march ahead of the crowd, if you're gonna get out there and do it, you got to bust it. I mean, you got to get out there and hit it. You got to have something. You got to take the business on its own terms and realize this is the way it is, which is something we have to do on a day-to-day basis. This is the way it is. I have got to do something that is going to turn these people's heads. I've got to make something they're willing to plop down $7.95 for a record for, whatever records are selling for nowadays. I got to do something that's going to make them want to listen to me on the radio and request my record and come to my shows and pay for a concert ticket. I got to do something, and all the amount of whining and complaining and talking about how bad the business is and how every day and all the time that I have ever been in this business, it's always been tough, and people have always said it's tough. Uh, I have been blessed. I mean, I've never really had trouble getting record contracts and that sort of thing. In fact, I got one probably before I was really ready to have one. God has blessed me with songwriting abilities, playing abilities, and that sort of thing. But at the same time, without getting those abilities to the attention of people, then you might as well sit in the living room and do it. It's always been rough. It's always been tough. It's always been hard. It's always been a lot of people will start out down the path, and when you get to the other end, there'll be very few of them left because a lot of people are not willing to take these hard knocks. I was in this business for, gosh, 14 years, something like that, before I ever had a decent record. And then from then on, that don't cure things. It's a help, but it don't cure things. You got to go on from there. And the thing about it is a common misconception, I think, especially among young musicians and young entertainers, that, boy, once you get there, boy, if I can just cross that line, if I can just get my name recognizable, if I can have a hit record, And then they go following the ladies and the drugs and this and that, and they fall by the wayside. Getting there's one thing. Staying there is something entirely different. And you see a lot of bands that come along and have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hit albums. And, they get thinking, hey, we got it knocked. Nobody's got it knocked. Nobody has ever got it knocked in the music business and entertainment business. You're only as good as your last show, your last album, your last song that you did. That's all you amount to. That's all you'll ever amount to. It's a rough business. It is a competitive business. It is a heartbreaking business, but it is a beautiful, wonderful, exciting way to spend your life if you're willing to do it. If you got the perseverance, you got the guts, and you got the talent, and you're willing to go out there and say, I am here. No matter how long it takes me, no matter if I have to work harder than anybody else has ever worked in this business, if I have to put up with more misery than anybody else has ever put up with, if I have got to, whatever I do, every time you turn around, you're going to see me over your shoulder. Every time you record people open your door, I'm going to be standing there. You're going to be hearing a song by me. Every time you radio people look around, I'm going to be coming there with a new record. I'm going to be on a show somewhere. I'm going to be giving it 110% of everything I can do every time I get on stage, every time I open my mouth, everything I do. If it takes me twice as long and I have to work twice as hard as anybody ever has, then go for it. But if you ain't got that kind of feeling, then don't go for it because you ain't going to do it.
How do you want to be remembered, Charlie?
As a kindly, God-fearing man that hopefully tried to make some humane differences in the world, but mainly remembered just for what I am. People don't deserve to be remembered for more or less than what they are. I'm sure some of our historical figures had clay feet. Uh, I don't think Elvis deserves to be remembered just for being a dope addict. I think Elvis deserves to be, I mean, of course, that side of it came out, and it's probably good that it did. Maybe it helped some people to realize that people are just human beings. But that's not the only thing he deserves to be remembered for. Elvis Presley deserves to be, it's time to put this junk away. We've heard it. I've had it up to here. I don't want to read any more books about how many pills he took. I want to read something about what the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he gave to charity, to the things, and people almost, it's got to be a cliche about Elvis gave so-and-so a Cadillac. He didn't give it to him out of malice. He gave it to him out of the goodness of his heart because he wanted them to have it. He gave things, he gave diamond rings and all kinds of things away. He helped people we'll never know about. He was not just some high-strung dope addict that set up his house in Memphis, and mistreated people. There was a lot more to the man than that. The man had a great God-given talent. He was a humane sort of a person. He probably gave away much more in his life than he ever kept. And I'm sick of I mean, I'm glad I know about it. I wouldn't want it to not have known about it, but enough is enough is enough. Somebody please write an Elvis Presley book about the way he sang, the things that he gave away, the charity that he did, the way he loved his mother, the way he loved his family, the way he believed in Jesus Christ. Write a book about that. I've had enough of the bad stuff. So what I'm saying is, I want to be remembered for whatever I am, whatever I am. I don't deserve to be remembered for any more, and I don't deserve to be remembered for any less. And I try to be honest about it. I try to let people know what I am, what I think, what I believe, and that's how I want to be remembered. Probably I have a very short epitaph. I probably won't deserve any more than that, but so be it.
Thanks.
My pleasure.